Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my updated Golden Beast Tamer deck. So this is my other Pale Moon deck. I did have End of Stage, I still have End of Stage. For some reason I thought I posted it on my channel and I guess I didn't. But yeah, originally I had Golden Beast Tamer and Silver Thorns. Then I changed Golden Beast Tamer to End of Stage because it was for some reason dirt cheap, no one was playing it. And that was a really unique deck because you don't need to run front triggers in that deck, it's just standard criticals and draws. It's still the most interesting out of all of these Pale Moon decks, but I went back to Golden Beast Tamer just to see how I could update it based off of the cards from the End of Stage deck, even though those cards were kind of designed to work with it. So this is what I came up with. So Golden Beast Tamer probably takes more strategy to play effectively compared to Silver Thorns, because Silver Thorns are just a lot more consistent, whereas this deck does tend to randomly soul charge and do things that you may not want it to do. So anyway, for Golden Beast Tamer, it's still the main Vanguard. It's still a really good card. It does what it does. The other grade 3 I'm running is, a lot of people will say run Nightmare Doll Alice. I still don't have Nightmare Doll Alice. But Miracle Pop Eva works in here just fine because there are ways to get it out of the soul. And when you ride on top of it, like let's say you break right on top of it with Golden Beast Tamer, it does do its break right effect. So you get to counterblast, draw, and one of your Vanguards gets 10k power. So that's very much a break right effect. But when placed from Soul and your Vanguard's grade 3, you just draw a card straight up and you Soul Charge 1. So it helps replenish the Soul when it leaves the Soul, and it draws you a card. So it can be like a potential +2 in advantage. So yeah, so 4 of it, it's pretty decent. For grade 2s, I'm running 4 Misdirection. So this is a card that actually is really meant to work with End of Stage. It's designed to work to play with that card. It came out in the same set, but I am running it in here, and it does work decently, I would say. I still think it's better with End of Stage, but I never ran it with Golden Beast Tamer before, so I decided to try it now. It seems like it works pretty fine. It works well enough to the point where I don't need to run a Nitro Juggler, although I do feel like if you wanted to run Nitro Juggler, that's a good option as well, because it doesn't use Counterblast to do the effect, but at the same time you don't get to draw cards, so you don't cycle through your deck as much as you do with this card, which is why I opted to run this card. But this card is less consistent though. Next I'm running 4 Jumping Jill. So Jumping Jill has always been a really good card with Golden Beast Tamer as the main Vanguard. So when placed from the Soul, you put one other rearguard into the Soul and call a grade 2 from the Soul, or call a non-grade 2 from your Soul to your back row. One interesting thing about this card though is it says non-grade 2, so that means you could actually call a grade 3 in the back row. Now why you ever do that right now doesn't matter, but if they ever make a card that is like a grade 3 or some Vanguard that gives you the ability to make your rearguards attack from the back row to Pale Moon, then I feel like this card may have some hidden potential just because of the way the wording is on there. So, but otherwise, it's still a pretty decent card at helping you enable extra attacks, calling to the Soul. And then I'm running 3 Amaranth Beast Tamer because it puts one other rearguard into the Soul, and this unit gets 3k power. So this combos really well with Purple Trapezes and other cards that allow you to recycle stuff or call stuff out when it goes in the Soul. So 3 of that. And then I am running the grade 1 Sentinels in here that allow you to draw when they're placed on the Vanguard circle. You don't have to run these if you have the Hades Hypnotist. Definitely run those, because that just allows you to run a more diverse grade 1 lineup. But running these is fine. So this is more of like a budget-oriented Pale Moon deck. Then 4 Starting Presenter, because Starting Presenter is really good in the non-Silver Thorn builds. Now the Bunny, Bazir Bunny, is really good as well. I have 4 copies in here. I'm only running 2 of it because my other 2 are in my Silver Thorn deck and I don't have a playset. But you could definitely run 4 of this if you want. Or like if you're not running these, then definitely you could bump this up to 4, then run 2 other cards as an attack card instead. But I'm running, so 6 of these. These are like your best like turn 1s. This works as well on rearguard circle. I mean, this does too, but this guy has an on-ride effect, like when you run on top of him. on your second turn, for instance, then you'll soul charge one, or you put a card from your hand into soul charge one, and you may call the soul charge card to R. So it helps. It kind of tries to mitigate the times where you soul charge something that could be really good. But for instance, if you soul charge Eva, you could call it out, but I mean that wouldn't really matter unless you had a grade 3 already. So never mind. I was trying to think of some interesting plays with this guy, but that wasn't one of them. Here's one card that would actually work, but this would have to be from the rear guard, and just so that wouldn't work either. But anyway, 4 purple trapezes. You got to run 4 of this in the non-Silverthorn builds, just because this card enables just so much to happen. Like this on a Excel 2 circle makes it swing 12 to against a Protect Vanguard, or even another Excel Vanguard. That's really good. Now that won't work against Force, but it still allows you to enable extra attacks. Then you can like put it into the Soul, then use its effect to Soul Blast itself, and then call, or Soul Blast another purple trapezes and call something else out. So it helps you enable multiple attacks. It's just really, really good. In Pale Moon decks in general, it's always been a really good card for the clan. And Standard is no exception. Alright, and that's basically the grade 1 lineup. So it's basically the Sentinels and then these guys, that's it. So for the trigger lineup, it's a little unique, but it's not too unique. Because we run the grade 1 Sentinels, we have more options to run more criticals and fronts and stuff. So I opted to run 6 criticals. So both of the Jugglers, the Poison one and the Dynamite one. And then we're running 6 front triggers, so 3 Sky High Walker and 3 Hoop Magician. So 6 front, 6 critical. That's pretty standard for Pale Moon. I would say it's pretty decent with this lineup. And then 4 Candy Clown, and of course Entertain Messenger as the non-Silverthorn starter, so the original starter. So you could run like 8 critical and 4 front, or I wouldn't really recommend running 8 front and 4 critical. I would only do it like 8 crit and 4 front. Or if you want to see more fronts, then you do what I'm doing, like 6 and 6. I feel like that's pretty much the optimal lineup. You don't really need to run the draws. You can if you want, but you do cycle enough and you soul charge enough that you don't really need to rely on the draws. Like you have other ways of drawing and gaining advantage and calling for free, essentially stuff that would have gotten soul charged. So, and then, you know, like misdirection draws as well. So you dig through the deck quite a bit with this lineup, that I feel like you don't really need to worry too much about running the draw triggers. Now you can, obviously, if you want. It's just, I just wanted to put a deck up there that's a little bit more unique as for an Excel deck and not having to rely on the draws because you're kind of a rush deck anyway. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of the deck profile, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.